But let's talk about Gavin Newsom, California Governor, and of course he confirmed over the weekend that he's considering running for president, which is obvious. He goes on as many podcasts as he possibly can, as well as running his own. He's already up to more than 40 podcasts that he's recorded in the space of a year, so he's spending a lot of time on that. He's now appeared on the All Smoke podcast, where he debuted a new accent and also claimed that his family was hustling to pay the bills. Look at this.
But also, it was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
it's like the White Stack 5 story.
Come on. Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Are you talking about me?
Young YG.
YG, man.
Every day in the backyard, just bouncing the basketball, throwing the ball against the wall until the ball is just like fraying, man. And your arms fall off. That's it, whole thing. So just, and then.
Is the fakest thing I have ever seen.
Shades of Hillary Clinton, right? Pulling out the Tabasco sauce, her black scent. She wants her black scent back. He's so transparent, right? I'm thinking about running. Please, please.
Considering,
yeah, okay. This is all you worked for your entire life. Look, the truth is, I know we make fun of him a lot. I know California is a disaster under his reign, right? And also, don't forget, he was in charge of San Francisco, dystopian under his leadership. Don't sleep on him. He's really good, and I'll give him credit. He goes on a lot of shows. Like, he's been on Hannity, right? He goes on a lot of shows, Adam Carolla. He goes on a lot of shows where he knows it's a hostile audience. He's very good at cosplaying as president. Right, and as a moderate, he's really good at it, and like right there, like he's trying to connect with the people that he's talking to. We laugh at it, but I'm telling you, it does have in every single poll, he is 1 or 2. Right, it's Kamala Harris and him. I think Kamala will probably end up fading away, and I think it'll probably be him and AOC. Frankly, that's my guess. But no, he'll be a real force if you to win the nomination, and B, he will not be so easy to get rid of. I'm warning people now. I know people are laughing at him for good reason, but he's actually pretty good at this.
I'm not sure about that accent, though, claiming that he was hustling. I mean, this is kind of like what Kamala Harris was doing throughout the election campaign last year. Whenever you'd see her pop up, she'd put on a different accent, and then she doesn't realise that people are getting their information online.
For food? His father was a major lawyer at a major oil company.
Yeah, he's rewriting history.
Please.
Yeah, but with the accents, I mean, people are getting so much of their news online, they can quickly go back and see that they're putting on a different accent. But he's bitter about the podcasters, I should say, that won't have him on. He's now in this war with Joe Rogan, and he's really bitter that Joe Rogan's not going to have him on. Take a look.
He won't. Look, he hasn't for years and years. He's been attacking me, and it's one way, and he won't have me on. He's consistently not having me on. By the way, I'm moving on. I have no interest.
You're done with him?
Joe Rogan's the Facebook of podcasting. He was sitting across one of the brightest minds in podcasting right now. The guy was in the mic. And there are a lot of people at the mic doing extraordinary things in podcasting.
I mean, Joe Rogan's got a pretty big audience still, though.
You know what? But with all due respect, if he has a big audience but he doesn't have big enough confidence, I didn't go there, to have me on.
Well, you've called him a chicken.
But he's been attacking for... but here's the thing. These guys, they all have something in common. It's one way. They attack, they belittle, they demean, they take things out of context. But this is a serious thing.
Not sure if that's the best way to then get an invitation to Joe Rogan's podcast.
Who complains about not going on a show, right? I mean, that's just such a weird way. And he keeps pushing this, right? And you look more and more pathetic the more you're like, oh, he wouldn't have me on the show. Wow.
Crying on CNN about it.
And I actually like that CNN was pushing. That guy was 100%. Pushing back.
Well, he's
got a huge audience.
Because Gavin Newsom trying to pretend that Joe Rogan's old news. He's like, no, he's the king of podcasting.
Dude, he's super relevant. I would love to be Joe Rogan to have his audience. Who are we kidding here?
I also respect Joe Rogan that he's like, it's my my show. I'll decide if you want to come on or not. It's not up to Gavin Newsom to demand his way onto every single podcast. We've heard enough of him. Now, Joe Biden, he's back speaking again, and he's insisting that the US is facing dark days. He made these comments during a ceremony where he was honoured with a Lifetime Achievement Award for inspired leadership from the Edward M. Kennedy Institute. So Joe Biden said, "Friends, I can't sugarcoat any of this. These are dark days." And he went on to say that our democracy is at stake, in my view. I'm not sure if we've heard that one before. He went on to say that America is more powerful than any dictator. I mean, Ami, when's he going to come up with some new material?
What a new and refreshing take on Donald Trump. Leave it to Joe Biden to come up with something different. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, dark days. Inflation is gone in America. Illegal immigration has been wiped out into America. Yeah, those are pretty dark days, right? The economy is looking up. It's just, first of all, if I'm Joe Biden and I'm his family, keep him like a mushroom. Just keep him in the. What are you doing? All you're doing is embarrassing and I would say tarnishing his legacy, but I think he did a pretty good job as president doing that. It's so trite and it's so obvious and there's nothing new to it. And now we understand why he had to step down.
Yeah.
Talk about difference in relevance. Joe Biden, Joe Rogan.
I know.
There's a little bit of an imbalance there.
Well, he was irrelevant while he was president. Now he's even more irrelevant. To the US forces have killed 14 people in strikes carried out on 4 alleged drug boats in the Pacific. So it's the latest operation in Trump's campaign to target drug trafficking. At least 57 people have been killed in these strikes as, of course, tensions rise between US and Venezuelan governments. I mean, it's pretty extraordinary. You know, I think the first hearing about this news, however long ago it was, and now another strike, another 14 people killed. I mean, I'm supporting Donald Trump for protecting America and keeping drug traffickers away from the country, but it's a pretty extraordinary use of power.
Look, I have always said, over and over again, I am against the increased executive power that we've seen over the decades. It hasn't just been Trump. It also was under Joe Biden. It was under Obama. But this is a little bit different because the foreign policy is truly within the sphere of the presidency, right? So I don't have an issue with that. And look, the extraordinary thing to me is the Democrats are attacking him for this, okay? You know, I got a suggestion. If you're a drug dealer and you don't want to be blown up, don't bring drugs to America. I don't know, crazy idea. Just don't do it and you're not going to find yourself dead in the ocean, right? Okay, piece of advice to all the drug dealers out there, free advice. But this is more than just, look, first of all, it's a massive problem for the United States, right? The drug problem, the fentanyl problem is out of control in the United States. So that's one area on why this has to be done. The second is, this is more than just tactical, this is strategic. This is China, Venezuela, our enemies, trying to flood our markets with these dangerous drugs as a weapon, as a soft war against us. And that's what he's doing. He's prosecuting essentially a soft war. And the Venezuelan government is part of this process. They're not just, these drug dealers are not just finding their way secretly on the coast of Venezuela and moving across the border. This is the outward support of Maduro and the Venezuelan government and his military and everything involved in the structures of governance to make sure that these drugs are being sent to our shores. So I applaud him for it. But the shocking thing to me, the Democrats are not standing with us, except, of course, John Fetterman. I shine this guy so much. I should be cleaning shoes in the streets of Broadway, okay? I'm sorry, but and by the way, he votes not regularly with Donald Trump, but when the things are obvious to him, I appreciate the fact that he stands up for it. And for that, the Democrats are trying to primary him and get rid of a reasonable Democrat in the Senate.
Finally, JD Vance insists that the ceasefire is holding in Gaza despite the recent attacks. Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed that powerful strikes have been launched in Gaza and, of course, accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire. This is what JD Vance had to say.
The president achieved a historic peace in the Middle East. The ceasefire is holding. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be little skirmishes here and there. We know that Hamas or somebody else within Gaza attacked an IDF soldier. We expect the Israelis are going to respond. But I think the president's peace is going to hold despite it.
JD Vance is downplaying this, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Look, clearly there has been a violation on the Hamas side, and Israel is within the right to respond, and they have. I don't think they've taken it beyond a measured response to what Hamas has done. I think, look, one of the major issues for the Israelis on this, on how they're breaking the ceasefire is they're not giving back the hostages. And in fact, there's now credible evidence that they're trying to even bury even more deeply the remains of the hostages, because I think they don't want us to see what happened. They don't want the world to see what they did to these people. So they're not giving back these particular bodies who I think were tortured in terrible, horrible ways. In fact, the Egyptians just sent over the border bulldozing equipment to help them find it. And there's evidence that they're actually using that equipment to deeper bury these bodies.
Horrific.
So this is who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I actually am still more optimistic than pessimistic that this will hold and there will be a ceasefire. But when you're dealing with Hamas, this is to be expected.
Ami Horowitz, thank you so much for your time.
Such a pleasure.